What is the cost of lies? It's not that we'll mistake them for the truth. The real danger is that if we hear enough lies, then we no longer recognize the truth at all.
Why would I have anything to say to you? All you do is wrong.
What else is left but to abandon even the hope of truth and content ourselves instead with stories?
It's the role of good journalism to take on powerful abuses. And when powerful abuses are taken on, there is always a back reaction.
Take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans, right. You're saying that's not gain of function?
That is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially.
When you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them. Okay?
Welcome back, Habbening Bros, to another beautiful Thursday night of Habbening TV. It is lovely that you have all joined me on this auspicious occasion, which is a random Thursday night. Yes, we have a bevy of news for you tonight. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the world. It looks like war might be breaking out between Israel and Iran, but, you know, that's sort of still up in the air at the moment. I'm sort of waiting for that story to develop, to sort of, you know, flower like a malignant pustule across the Middle East, you know, until I sort of like cover it, because basically at the moment it's pretty much Iran saying, you know, we're going to strike Israel, and the Americans saying, no, you better not, you know, and Iran being like, we're gonna, and the Israelis being like, oh my God, like help us, and you know, so it's like, it's sort of like a developing nothing burger at the moment. In other news, O.J. Simpson has finally kicked the bucket from cancer, and on the heels of that was the admission of a number of jurors at his trial that they totally knew he was guilty. They just basically let him off in revenge for the Rodney King beating. So, you know, so that's good to know that justice was done. What else has been going on? You know, just, you know, the usual stuff. I think that's the major things. Tonight we have some more boutique, sort of like unknown stories, you know, that isn't covered by the mainstream news. I know that's why you come here, boyos and girlos. We have so this new hidden camera journalism outfit, I forget their name, it's in the tweet, basically got this ex-FBI agent to admit that they just targeted Alex Jones, you know, and took all of his money because, you know, they didn't like him. Jones has now basically said he's going to like sue the FBI, so that should be like really, really interesting. We're going to be covering that. The CAS report, which is the sort of highly sort of critical report on transgenderism in the UK, well, specifically transgender therapies, puberty blockers, all that kind of like other stuff, has come out. It's 380 pages. I haven't read it. I don't have the time nor the autism to wade through all of that, but other people have read it and they have read articles about it, so I will be reading those articles to you because that's how journalism works. And finally, we have the European Court of Human Rights has just basically decided that all governments that are signed up to it have to care about climate change. Yes, the Swiss held a referendum on whether they should do anything about climate change, and the European Court of Human Rights basically stepped in and said, I know you democratically chose not to do this thing, but have you considered not doing it? This, of course, has, like, you know, caused a bit of an eruption everywhere because, you know, there are many, many people who want to leave the European Court of Human Rights because of this kind of like stuff, but it's not going to happen, is my prediction. Courts like these, global courts like these, are an intrinsic part of the global glowy control grid. And you can't have countries just deciding not to go along with what our masters demand. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, excuse me. So let's anyway, that's basically what we're covering tonight. Let's see who's in the chat, bros. Rumble chat, we have Captain Crisps, Texas Man, Fox39 Forever, Livia Drusilla, good to see you. Patriots Flow, lovely to see you as well. Let me see. White Rattlesnake, good to see you, man. I know Sade Sapiente is in here somewhere. And Yiz the Eunuch, of course. Yiz, I hope your outing is going well. I believe it hasn't started yet, but all the best wishes for your guns and beef outing. In the Odysee chat, we have Jeffrey Mill. Good to see you, sir. And in the YouTube chat, we have Victorian Time Traveler. Thanks for coming along. My meme today. So this is a book I've been reading recently, How to Pretend to be Indoctrinated Enough to Fit in with Mainstream Society. I don't know whether it's working, bros. They promise that in 10 easy steps, I too can alter everything about myself so that I will be completely, you know, it won't stand out from modern society at all. I will just, you know, basically the normies will look at me and there will be one of us. I'm following all the directions, but it just doesn't seem to be taking, bros. I think I may be a bit of a lost cause when it comes down to that. I don't know what to say. Oh, we also have Smack Your Apocalypse in the Odysee chat. And remember, every day, thousands of YouTubers starve, lying in the streets, begging for views. Won't you help a struggling micro-celebrity to afford the food and shelter that they so desperately need? Yes, you can donate Send super chats. Send anything. Send money, send food, send weed, send, good wishes over on Entropy. Link here is in the pinned. It's at the top of the chat. Wait, let me see if I've still got it in. No, I don't. Do I still have the linky? Oh God, I should have prepared this better. Here we go. Yep, I'll just chuck it in the chat. If you enjoy this stream, please consider sending something. Send a little summon my way, and I'll read out your super chats. Anyway, let's get on with the news, bros. We've got and by the way, I have an extensive selection of cute animals and funny videos for you tonight to, soothe the horror that is, the news generally, basically. Okay, let's get to the, get to the window. Here we go. Right, so, so this is a crazy goddamn story. This came across my Twitter feed a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh man, James O'Keefe has been at it. But it's not James O'Keefe, it's another sort of, thing that sort of James O'Keefe-like sort of thing, a Project Veritas kind of thing that has spawned called Sound Investigations. And remember, chat, back in the day, back in the before the revolution, when it was considered a good idea that if you had people in prominence in places of government and the military, that they be married with children, because, it showed that, they were stable and, they had like a regular partner, and it was less likely that they could be honeypotted, they had kids. Well, now, of course, that is all the patriarchy. So now all these positions are filled with old queens who are slavering at the mouth for a taste of young meat. And it seems that if you are one of those, tasty pieces of young meat, you can get them to say all kinds of crazy shit on camera. Yes, another gay honeypot, as Texas Man has pointed out. Former FBI CIA employee says approximately 20 undercover agents were in January 6th crowd. Well, I mean, we all knew that. That's nothing. But he boasts about taking away Alex Jones's money. This is the guy, Gavin O'Blenis. Rhymes with Gavin O'Penis. I need a dancing sausage for that. Yes, it seems that Gavin O'Plenis fell for the gay honey trap. Man, I don't know how any of these people can honestly even use Grindr anymore. I would have thought by now that people like the CIA and the FBI would be don't use Grindr anymore. Perhaps what they need to do, what the intelligence agencies need to do, is have their own sort of in-house coterie of safe escorts, for their aging queens. But imagine the drama, right? They two aging queens in the in the Department of Defense. They book an escort for the same day, and before you know it, there's civil war going on. Because one of them controls the aircraft, and the other one controls the artillery, and they're all going at each other. And before you know it, you have civil war. Not the first time that a war has broken out over fine man flesh. It's just so weird. It just keeps happening, bros. I presume, maybe, James O'Keefe is getting quite well known at this point. Undercover video from Sound Investigations reveals a former FBI employee and contracting CIA officer, Gavin O'Plenis. I'm going to keep making that joke. It's too fucking funny. Claimed that there were at least 20 FBI agents in the J6 crowd. I mean, he also revealed the agency was behind the lawsuit brought by Sandy Hook families against Alex Jones. In the end, he said the agency got what it wanted because they took all of his money. Now, the question, of course, is what was Jones about to do with this money? Now, I haven't seen this myself. I don't watch a ton of Alex Jones, but he basically at some point said apparently that all this stuff started when he supported Trump. If you remember, J6 said he got up on the podium and he was like, Trump's our guy, and if you vote for him, we won't have to eat our neighbors. Take our democracy back. And apparently, the glowy industrial complex they don't take kindly to democracy. What they want is democracy, or as we call it in the Helldivers 2 space, managed democracy. I think personally that is a great term, really, because that's basically what they want. In the Helldivers universe, yes, I've been playing a lot of Helldivers. Screw you, it's fun. Basically, they say we have a super chat, $50 from Paladin. XYZ, great work, man. You are killing it. Wait, I need a love heart and a confetti. Are you ever going to do the episode on the commies v Christians that you did with Yiz? The one that had the res problem? That was absolutely fantastic. No, I probably will not redo it. A lot of that was sort of like off the cuff, and I think to redo it would sort of, take away from it. Yeah, that it sucks that it had a resolution problem. I guess just listen to it as a podcast, maybe, and just sort of, But yes, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. That was quite a that was quite an intense episode. No Empire of Lies this week, by the way, because Yiz is away at her guns and meat gathering, where all these sort of American patriots hang out in the mountains, eating meat and shooting guns. I wish I could go, but I can't. Right, so the new report from Sound Investigations with Oblenus. This is never not going to be funny. This is Mr. Oblenus right here. Aging Queen physiognomy, obviously, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Columbia College. I don't know if that's Columbia University, but that would make sense. And this is, immigration services analyst, FBI procurement specialist, So let's check it out. This is the actual tweet from Sound Investigations. And look, this is pretty amazing. I'm gonna play a few chunks of this. Enjoy.
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How?
You set them up.
Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot?
Yeah, we get really close. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge. Sometimes you just gotta give them a quick little, just to see what happens. Sometimes you light the fuse and just wait for it to follow. Nothing like putting on a fake social media thing to really get people mad.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, so we were after him.
You are?
We did what we wanted.
Which was what?
Took his money away, chopped his legs off.
Yes, we don't do entrapment. We just nudge people. We make fake social media posts. We infiltrate counter protests. We just do everything. I mean, it's not technically entrapment. I mean, they wouldn't have done the thing if we hadn't gone into their life and screwed with it. But it's not entrapment, bro. Look, entrapment, like love, is just a word. You know what I mean? It means different things to different people. And, when you've got a coterie of compliant judges, it means whatever you want it to mean, basically. The glowy industrial complex is being exposed, sort of in real time. I mean, all these sort of intelligent observers had realized, I came to this realization all the way back with the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, actually, as a matter of fact. When that mob descended on Kenosha, Wisconsin, one of the things that they didn't do is get any of the phones from the people involved. And this was a very interesting oversight, because usually they do that. And I suspected at the time that the reason that they didn't look into these people's phones is because they would find that they were all involved with Antifa, and that Antifa was involved with higher people. And this has also come out basically with what's been going on in Ireland recently. I'm waiting for a bit more info on that as well, in case you hadn't heard. There was a protest in Coolock, an anti-immigration protest, and a bunch of Antifa shown up. They got their shit pushed in and dropped, or got stolen, a couple of mobile phones. And these mobile phones had footage on them of a prominent Irish journalist basically hanging out with Antifa in the hotel room beforehand, making the flags and everything like that. And there is a serious suggestion that these groups are working with, journalists and working with government in order to squelch any kind of opposition to mass migration, because that's what it's all about. When they say far right, now what they basically mean is being in any way opposed to mass migration. Right. Anyway, back to Mr. Oblenus.
Gavin Oblenus is a contracting officer at the CIA. Oblenus worked for the FBI in 2021 and 2022 in the San Diego office, moved on to Homeland Security where he conducted asylum interviews at the southern border, and now works for the CIA managing multi-million-dollar contracts across government agencies and private sector vendors.
I work for, how do I put this without, I'm not supposed to tell people kind of job. If I say intelligence, what do you think?
CIA?
Yep.
Oh, you work for the CIA?
I do.
That's incredible.
I'm a contracting officer.
That's amazing.
So I deal a lot with different agencies. We're contracting with Director of National Intelligence to do stuff. We do Navy, Army, any of them really. I just FBI. I used to work for the FBI, so they threw the FBI at me. They're like, "Here, you used to work there." Oh, I'm permanent.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, why do they call it contracting?
Because I do the contract. I do all the legal contracts. I fly out to vendors and evaluate them. I love the agency.
Good for you.
I like the Bureau too. The Bureau was a lot of fun. I got to do a lot of cool stuff with the Bureau. I was the guy in the back of the truck in the van.
O'Blennis spoke to an undercover Sound Investigations reporter about his work experience involving near entrapment and his employer's involvement with political commentator Alex Jones's legal battles.
As long as the Bureau is able to progress far enough to be able to put pro-lifers in jail whenever they want.
Yeah.
You think that's on the agenda?
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How?
You set them up.
Now, this is a shockingly frank admission from the glowy industrial complex. We can put anyone in jail that we want, right? This is why the laws are structured the way that they are. This is why these organizations are given the remit that they are, right? There is no real law anymore in places like the US and the UK. The law, again, is basically whatever they say it is. Now, there's always a bit of this. Obviously, someone's got to write the law, someone's got to interpret the law, but the law is not supposed to be used in such a sort of frank kind of a way. This is the sort of Cardinal Richelieu kind of thing. Give me 3 letters from a man and I can find a crime. This is a complete inversion of how justice is supposed to work. But of course, it hasn't been working properly for a long time at this point.
You create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. And once they act on that impulse, then we call that entrapment. It's a fine line.
I'd call that entrapment. I don't know about you, Mr. O'Plenus, but I would definitely call that entrapment. In my definition, entrapment is when a law enforcement agency, right, does something, right, intrudes on a person's life that causes them to commit a crime that they would not otherwise have committed. That is fucking entrapment.
Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot?
We get really close.
Not officially?
No. We get as close as we can. We get as close as we can to it without doing it.
So they can entrap some of these pro-lifers into doing things that they don't...
Yeah. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge. Sometimes you just gotta give them a quick little... just to see what happens, right?
And how does that happen?
You put a post out there, or you have someone fake profile say something that triggers, that we know is going to trigger them, right? Like, we already know your history. If we're to that point, we already know everything about it.
Now, I mean, I don't know if any of you saw the episode that Yiz and I did on 6th Generation Warfare on Empire of Lies, but I was basically making this exact point that, trying to make any kind of like organized resistance group like at all or do anything is merely going to actually sort of feed the regime at this point. It's crazy. Like the surveillance is basically total. The only way out really is to attack the legitimacy of the governing regime.
So we're like, oh, this will piss them off.
Oh.
Sometimes you light the fuse and just wait for it to follow, right?
Like a railing. Like a... Oh.
Now, this makes me wonder whether, glow groups like the FBI have been responsible for some of the drag queen story hour stuff, for example, because what he's describing, right? You just do a thing and you wait for everyone to get like pissed off. There's always Antifa there. Antifa works with these kinds of groups. Is this basically what we're seeing? The FBI sort of deliberately raising the temperature in places like the US in order to attack their political opponents.
So when a rally happens, that's sometimes the Bureau behind it?
Yeah, sometimes. Nothing like putting out a fake social media thing to like really get people mad. Post fake news. Sometimes it's it's not fake. It's embellished a little bit.
Who would be like a big influencer that you're after? You're like a, I don't know, like I don't even know these names. Like a Fox News person or like a...
Captain Crisps, I think it's a legit moron spilling his guts, hoping it will get him a shag. Yes, I absolutely agree. And look, this is one of the things about human nature. You can't change the way that men are. You can't change the way that women are. I don't care how much like social programming and hormones and microplastics you pump into their water. You know, men are men, women are women, and you know the stories of you know, sort of middle-aged lonely men bigging themselves up in order to get a bit of you know, fresh meat. Are legendary. I mean, literally, just look at history. Look at Shakespeare. Look at Machiavelli. Just, you know, many such cases, I guess is what I'm saying.
And Tucker Carlson or like...
Oh, I'm sure he's on the radar, right? You always want the biggest and loudest. Like that, what was his name? The one that said Sandy Hook didn't happen. It was
Alex Jones.
Yeah, so we were after him.
You are? Are you still after him?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's broke. He got found guilty and had to pay like $100 million.
So why were you after him?
We're not anymore.
Just to get the money from him?
Yeah.
Was that court case used? Was that a CIA
Sure
thing?
was.
That was an agency thing?
Well, actually it was a defamation case. So it's a civil, not government. But we were looking at all of his followers, commenting, following, like, who's that going to lead us to, right? So,
I mean, that is another shockingly frank admission. The FBI is on social media, spying on everyone, liking and retweeting people like Alex Jones. Well, I mean, you know, I guess it's you know, it's nice to know that the government cares. It's always nice to feel like there's someone up there watching you. You know, they do say that indifference is the opposite of love. You know, so you know, government sort of like looking down on us. You know, from a high place, being like, you know, you liked a tweet that's going on your permanent record. Bloody hell, man. 1984 ain't got anything on this shit.
even though it's technically not our, well, not the agency definitely, but the Bureau, for instance, yeah, that's not our purview. It's a civil matter. But since they got all this access to his stuff and it's there, what can we go find?
And did you find anything?
I can't tell you if we did.
So this is an admission that the FBI helped with information on the case against Alex Jones. I mean, again, everyone with a brain, could have already determined this, but, the admission is quite frank.
But, so, it's just kind of like, realize the opportunity that you have.
So with Alex Jones, you were watching him long before anything ended up happening.
Probably. It wasn't my office, but, we would have been well aware of what he was doing.
And the goal with him was what, just to bankrupt him?
Pretty much. And we let the families do it.
And what?
We let the families do it.
Were they encouraged to do that by the Bureau? Like nudged?
We don't encourage people.
But like...
We just say there's no federal statute being broken. But you do have the option for a civil.
Yeah, we don't encourage people. We just give free legal advice to people that are attacking our political enemies. So it's totally not the same thing at all, bros.
For a civil case, and it's a pretty good case.
Nice.
In our opinion.
So, that makes so much sense. I have a cousin who's a lawyer. So that's a lot of these cases, they're kind of encouraged by the FBI?
Yeah, like, there's nothing federal law we can do, but civilly, we can go at him that way and chop his legs off.
And they did? Yeah. So the FBI was happy?
We didn't care, we were like,
Ah, yes, the FBI protecting the citizenry of America from Alex Jones and his hurty words and vitamin sales. Fucking dude, man.
Basically, the citizens did your job.
Yeah.
Wow, so you can encourage a civil lawsuit.
Not encourage, educate.
What can you do with people like Alex Jones now? Because he's still out there.
Yeah.
He's still chirping.
He can chirp.
Are you still watching him?
Yeah.
Why?
He did what we wanted.
Which was what?
Took his money away. We shut him up for a while. You're never going to shut him up permanently.
Well, unless you put him in prison.
But again, he didn't do anything to go to prison.
So this is also a frank admission that the process is the punishment, right? If they can't get you for breaking the law, they will just put you through a torturous trial. This is Kafka come to life.
Being ignorant is not a crime, though it should.
it is. I mean, what you could bring a nudge.
He didn't incite a riot like Cheeto. He didn't encourage people to go shoot people. He didn't do anything.
Additionally, O'Bleness states that he knows and works with FBI agents who were undercover in the January 6th Capitol riot, estimating about 20 field agents were there undercover. While O'Bleness notes that they were not involved in violence, this appears to be the first admission of undercover FBI agents in attendance.
I thought you said that there were FBI agents in the crowd at J6.
There always are when there's a big protest in D.C. Just in case it gets out of hand like that. But there wasn't enough to turn that tide. I mean, I'm talking they maybe have 20. You needed 1,000 to get rid of that crowd.
So they had like, that was just 20?
Yeah, just to go through and observe and see what they can hear, that kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. They needed 1,000 at least.
Well,
Wow.
see, that's also Capitol Police jurisdiction. They're in charge.
So
why they didn't have more on hand, I don't know.
The Bureau didn't really want people knowing that they were in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be overstepping their bounds.
A little bit.
Do people know that?
What?
Did people know that the Bureau was in the crowd?
Nope, and probably never will.
So there you go. Not only the admission that they were deliberately targeting Jones just to get his money and just to like fuck him up, even though he had broken no law. The first admission, from someone in the FBI that there were FBI agents in the J6 crowd, as though anyone, was unaware of this. So there you go, Mr. O'Bleness. Alex Jones, of course, was quick to respond. Basically being like, I told you so. I told you the deep state was after me.
But now that this has come out, this is a FBI agent, a CIA boss. He's a contract manager over large contract operations. That's a boss. That's like a mini section chief, saying all of this and admitting all of this like it's no big deal. He needs to be subpoenaed by Congress. I am planning to launch a lawsuit against the CIA and the FBI. We have to bring all this out. And right as my bankruptcy comes to a close and right as all this stuff's being finalized, it's really God working here that this came out at this time.
You just said you were planning on suing the federal government. What would a Alex Jones versus the U.S. government look like?
Well, I'm talking to different law firms right now that specialize in this. In fact, when I get off the feed with you, I'm going to get back on the phone with the lawyers. It's obviously a civil rights violation. It's a government racketeering operation using cutouts. And look, I mean, they come after my mother, my father, my wife. In these mediations, they've said, listen, just come out against the Second Amendment and we'll drop all this. I mean, they've done that repeatedly. And they've even said, listen, we're a mafia and there's nothing you can do to stop us, to my face, in front of my lawyer, in front of Norm Pass. And so they're very arrogant. I mean, these are the sellouts. These are the traitors. These are the people that really love being under the corrupt FBI's wings, under the CIA's wings. They get a thrill. They get to go out and persecute fellow Americans, lie about them, say all these horrible things, and then say you said it, steal your identity, silence you so they can all pile in on you, make movies about themselves with judges and flash bulbs, and oh, we're so great. We went out and got the big Goliath. No, you guys are the Goliath. I'm the David. You misrepresented what I did to make me a monster, and it's backfired.
So when you say you're going to file a civil rights lawsuit against the government over this, this is something you've clearly talked about. You've retained counsel on this. Would you go on First Amendment grounds that they eliminated your right to free speech, that the right to a free press? And it seems like so much of what you do is, of course, crystallized in the First Amendment first for a reason.
I've been talking to 4 different law firms, and I'm literally supposed to be on with one of them 5 minutes ago. I will come back with you tomorrow, or I'll come back with you today. I love your show. It's huge. But absolutely, I've got to get the wheels on this thing rolling.
So yes, Jones is going to sue the federal government. I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, based on the way the American legal system is at the moment, it seems like it'll probably go nowhere. But on the other hand, Jones is kind of a cause célèbre for the right, so I'll keep an eye on it, and I will let you know how it's going, bros. Anyway, next story. The Cass Review has dropped after 4 years of this Dr. Cass looking into the whole transgender thing, the Tavistock Institute and, the sort of use of trans surgery, puberty blockers, hormones on children. 4 years this took. The report has finally dropped. An independent review into gender identity services for children and young people in Britain has warned that healthcare professionals are afraid to discuss views on transgender services for children, and found there was no evidence that puberty blockers or hormone drugs, quote, buy time to think, or, quote, reduce suicide risk in that cohort. The report by pediatric consultant Dr. Hilary Cass was undertaken as concern grew regarding the controversial provision of gender-affirming care, where other mental health factors were not examined nor sufficient counselling given to children, and the huge spike in children presenting at clinics such as the now-closed Tavistock, seeking to be put on a treatment pathway to change their sex. Dr. Cass has now made 32 recommendations, including an end to the prescribing of powerful hormone drugs to children and adolescents under 18, while also insisting that children who are referred for gender services be screened for neurodevelopmental conditions, including autism spectrum disorder and a mental health assessment. Outlining the research she had undertaken and the shareholders she had spoken to, Dr. Cass said that despite the best intentions of everyone with a stake in this complex issue, the toxicity of the debate is exceptional. Yes, indeed. There are a few other areas of healthcare where professionals are so afraid to openly discuss their views, where people are vilified on social media, and where name-calling echoes the worst bullying behavior. This must stop. Well, I mean, I'm sure any day now, all the trans activists will just, go away. An interim report in 2022 found that the approach adopted by the Tavistock Clinic, which provided services to children with gender dysphoria, was unsafe, that it overlooked other mental health problems in children, failed to collect data on the safety of puberty blockers, and did not subject the treatments administered to children to normal quality controls. In other words, it was like mass human experimentation, right? They haven't followed up. They didn't do any testing. They just, we're going to do this thing. Suck it up. Based on the findings of the report, the British NHS announced in July 22 that Tavistock would be closed down. Don't worry though, guys. Don't worry. They're going to open other centres instead. So don't worry. The transing will continue. They're just going to shut Tavistock down because it was drawing too much heat. Dr. Cass said there was no evidence that puberty blockers, quote, buy time to think or reduce suicide risk, and that children who present as transgender should not be given any hormone drugs at all until at least 18. You can hear the squealing literally all over London. She warned that drugs that suppress puberty had no effect on the person's body satisfaction or how they experienced gender dysphoria. Urging extreme caution, the review said that the option to provide hormones from age 16 is available, but the review recommends extreme caution. There should be clear clinical rationale for providing hormones at this stage rather than waiting until an individual reaches 18. Every case considered for medical treatment should be discussed at a multidisciplinary team meeting. A systematic review undertaken by the University of York for the Cass Review found, quote, multiple studies demonstrating that puberty blockers exert their intended effects in suppressing puberty, but also that bone density is compromised during pubertal suppression. However, and this is the important thing, no changes in gender dysphoria or body satisfaction were demonstrated. There was insufficient/inconsistent evidence about the effects of puberty suppression on psychological or psychosocial well-being, cognitive development, cardiometabolic risk, or fertility. So all the transgender activists that have been going around basically saying if you don't do this, kids are going to literally kill themselves. There's no science to back this up at all. She also warned of concern that puberty blockers may change the trajectory of psychosexual and gender identity development, and noted that most patients went on to take cross-sex hormones because it's basically a pipeline. The review found that the younger that children started gender identity treatment, the more likely they were to continue on to cross-sex hormones, leading to the review's conclusion that the drugs are not buying time to think. She urged that all children and teenagers should be given time to keep options open during this developmental window, and that other conditions could also then be explored while preserving the patient's fertility. So yeah, it doesn't look good. This is the final report. Let's see. I've got the summary here. Again, 388 pages. I haven't read the whole thing. Basically, pretty much saying, what I was saying with what the Gripped article was talking about, that it was very, very hard to get a sort of reasonable argument around this issue due to the sort of large amounts of screaming from the trans lobby and the highly polarizing view of highly polarizing public debate around this. There are conflicting views about clinical approach, with expectation at times being far from usual clinical practice. Yeah, you can say that again. This has made some clinicians fearful of working with gender questioning young people, despite their presentation being similar to many children and young people presenting to other NHS services. Although some think the clinical approach should be based on a social justice model, that's a bad idea. The NHS works in an evidence-based way. Oh no, not evidence-based. We need to have a social justice, like, oh God, man. While navigating a way through the surrounding culture war, the review has been acutely and increasingly aware of the need for evidence to support its thinking and ultimately the final recommendations made in the report. When the review started, the evidence base, particularly in use to the relation of puberty blockers and masculizing and feminizing hormones, had already been shown to be weak. There was and remains a lot of misinformation easily accessible online, with opposing sides of the debate pointing to research to justify a position regardless of the quality of the studies. And it turns out that most of those studies are complete crap. And when the people behind the CAS report went to a bunch of gender clinics and asked them to do follow-ups, they basically just refused. So they know that, it's bad. They know that there are far more people detransitioning than they're letting on. They like to quote either 1 or 2% figure, saying, it hardly ever happens that there's any kind of regret. That is simply not true. Oh, Flip City Mag. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming along. To understand the best way to support children and young people, the review's ambition, therefore, was not only to understand the existing evidence, but also to improve the evidence base, robust report, etc., etc. Okay, so now this is the thing from the end. These are all of these studies that the trans lobby were basically relying on, and I don't know whether you can see it; it's a bit small, but all the stuff in yellow is lack of blinding and no control group, lack of blinding, no control group, lack of blinding, no control group. All of these studies were non-randomized controlled trials at all. There was no control group to study in the same way. So none of these studies can be taken to mean basically anything, right? So this is basically the way it goes. Now, of course, Pink News, the trans paper of choice, was like, no, don't take away our gender drugs. Like, we need it, because, Gnosticism or some crazy religious bullshit. Sorry, bigots. Trans people will always exist, and the CAS report doesn't change that. Fuck, mate. It's like the declaration of faith for these people. Trans is beautiful. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that's particularly beautiful. The much-anticipated CAS report has finally been published, bringing with it a host of anti-trans naysayers, predicting what they call gender ideology is going the way of the dodo. No, I can hear them cry. No, I haven't chopped off my penis yet. No, I have so many other children to corrupt. Oh, man, it's so sad. On top of the interim review published by Hillary Cass, the report was commissioned in 2020. It's a mixed bag of comprehensive reforms that make sense if implemented correctly, while other more controversial recommendations range from puzzling to possibly malicious. Dum dum dum. The Cass report includes a cavalcade of questionable claims, including that there was evidence of a prenatal hormonal influence surrounding which toys boys and girls pick to play with, as well as that for many centuries transgender people have been predominantly trans females. Oh no! Oh no! No. Social constructivism. Everybody knows that there's no such thing as hormonal influence in the womb. The only reason why boys play with trucks and girls play with dolls is because of the what the fuck do they call it? The gender roles, social constructivism. It's because they the parents push them. They're like, oh, you don't want to play with dolls. Oh God. And for many centuries, transgender people have been predominantly trans females. Well, I'm pretty sure this is true. Look at Thailand, right? Oh, see you later, years. Have a good weekend. The more reasonable recommendations, including the separation of pathways for prepubescent children and teenagers and the implementation of regional hubs over the single clinic, had already been undermined by the fast that surrounded the opening of the first new centers this month. I don't know what that's about, but I am absolutely sure that they will definitely spin those centers up. So yes, they're kvetching, whether or not you believe Cass will be a watershed moment, as Shadow Health Secretary Wes Streeting hoped in his... Oh my God, Wes Streeting's the Health Secretary? in his pathetic statement on the report. Ooh, what was this pathetic statement? Let's have a look. Oh my God, no! Labour no longer stands by the statement that trans women are women. Oh my God, there's an election coming up. They're looking to like get some of those conservative votes. They're going to try and woo the working class. No, they're no longer saying trans women are women. Oh my God. Labour MP Wes Streeting has expressed regret. Oh, well, if he expressed regret, then what the hell are they talking about? Saying trans men are men, trans women are women. Get over it. But he now believes there are lots of complexities. So he's shifted towards the trans lobby. But of course, Pink News is still crying about it. Amnesty International UK argue that the report is already being weaponized by anti-LGBTQIA++ LGBT lettuce and tomato organizations and groups. And so it has come to fruition that TERFs are using the document as a way to claim that anyone supporting trans people is using pseudoscience to justify a myth. Oh no. Let's see, what else have we got? Yes, they closed down the Tavistock and all this kind of like other stuff. And this is from The Guardian. Oh my God. That's got to be a trans guy. Look at that physiognomy. The Guardian, of course, taking the lefty sort of like view. By failing to take on clinicians who doubt the very existence of trans children and young people, the review lets down those it seeks to support. Of course, this is the thing. It's already injected in the culture now. Even if they, transition away from it, all of those people are still going to be there. They can't just shut down the trans clinics. They're going to like spread it out all over the country now. So it's that classic sort of ratchet effect. You use sort of like one movement to ram it through, and then you sort of, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then you prepare to make another 2 steps. This isn't going to go away at all, as far as I'm aware. And they'll probably drop a new hate crime law, basically saying like, oh my God, you're not allowed to say anything. I think it's already illegal. I can't tell when it comes to speech what's legal and illegal anymore. Captain Crisp's Entropy stream. No, well, I'm not streaming on Entropy. I don't know. Maybe I should. But you can donate there. Thanks very much for dropping the link, Saydays. Oh no, the UK has fallen to 15th in European LGBT plus equality rankings. Blah, 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 blah. Now, this is a report from Joe. This is like pretty lefty. This is what the lefties are saying. Enjoy.
They've hijacked this report and said it's vindicated them. Some people are so intolerant of the alternate point of view that they're just so blind to the needs of these children. What she's identified is that there's no services that are holistic. There's no holistic approach to transitioning. So it means that if you're a child experiencing gender dysphoria, you don't get to go to therapy. And a lot of that is to do with the binary nature of the debate, because it's so hard and fast in each camp that it means that basically local services are too frightened to intervene or get involved. If someone's experiencing gender dysphoria when they're 12 years old, even if they are the perfect candidate for puberty blockers and they should go on them, the idea that they would go on them without having their hand held during that, to have no therapy during that, seems totally nuts to me. I just think as well, like, it's exposed the messianic zeal of anti-trans campaigners, because they've hijacked this report.
Yeah, like the trans campaigners don't have a messianic zeal. Bloody hell.
And said that it's vindicated them. This is exactly what the feminists have been talking about for years. Some people are so intolerant of the alternate point of view that young children might need to access services. And I'm not saying they immediately have to access puberty blockers, even though some cases they might, but they might actually have to access therapy, that they're just so blind to the needs of these children. It's so unhelpful.
Yeah, so as I said, it's not going away anytime soon. I got into a bit of a wingding with someone on Twitter about this. I try not to get into these kinds of arguments, but I thought this was like quite funny. This person, if you've read all the evidence, 2 questions, Dragon Panties. What are the cost benefits of restricting transition in people who want to transition, and why is the regret rate 2% when all these harms from transition are being experienced? And I'm like, can you give me a source for the 2% claim? Also, if you take the potential cost as death, you could argue that any harm is preferable, massively corrupting the argument. Whether a life of suffering is better than death is by no means an answerable question en masse. Now, of course, Twitter is, very, very short messages, but what I was basically trying to say is that what level of suffering constitutes, someone thinking they'd be better off dead is an individual choice. It's not something that you can just decide for the wider society. The professor who started the thread tweeted back to me, you might not make those kinds of comments in The Hague. Apparently Twitter is The Hague now. I was not aware I was on trial in The Hague, but you have proven my point. If death is not preferable to a life of suffering for some, then why does suicide exist? You are just potentially leveraging 2 kinds of suffering, the kind with trans surgery and the kind without. Very strange of you to determine that someone else's choices are characterized by suffering and they are better off dead. Just butt out. Now, just this trans... she's deleted the tweet. Basically, she was going on saying that, she is aroused and excited when people transition. I believe she's basically like a trans doctor. Yes, hormone secretions and glands. Awesome. And finally, my reply, if not having trans surgery is suffering through dysphoria, which in some may lead to death, but some who have surgery also feel that such suffering that it leads to death, you have merely traded one suffering for another. How many in the first group wind up in the second? And I think this is sort of the crucial point. Anyway, right, enough about that. And our last story. So it turns out that the European Court on Human Rights, that sort of thing that everyone with a brain wants to leave, is flexing its muscles even more. It looks like the sort of attempt to leave it over immigration was headed off by Rishi Sunak, who went over them and said, look, can you just, relax the rules on deporting people who have committed serious crimes? And the EHCR are like, yeah, man, that's fine. It's good. Captain Crisp, that was a good tweet from Fizz. Oh, thank you very much, Captain Crisps. I appreciate that. National governments are infringing on citizens' human rights by not doing enough to tackle climate change. So there you go. You thought human rights was about not being oppressed by your government, but it turns out that human rights are about not being oppressed by your government enough. Because in clown world, anything is basically what I say it is, right? This is what happens when language breaks down. Nothing means anything, and it all just becomes about raw power. How much power do I have to convince you that the bullshit I am spewing is true? Chris, I would have shared it or forwarded it, but I'm not on Twitter because it's for faggots. Yes, well... Yes, I agree. I agree, Chris. But it turns out that I need it for work. That's my excuse. Yes, ECHR has held a landmark ruling that could have far-reaching consequences and influence climate policy across the continent. In a highly anticipated judgment, the Strasbourg court on Tuesday sided with a group of Swiss pensioners who brought a claim against their national government for its perceived failure to act sufficiently in reducing carbon emissions, claiming that existing climate change policy was violating their human rights. Oh dear. Members of the Klima Senioren group, which I presume means climate seniors, supported by environmental campaign groups such as Greenpeace, of course there has to be glowing involvement. No one normal can afford to bring a case, to the EHCR. You know how much freaking money and time that costs. Argue that elderly citizens are particularly vulnerable to the effects of climate change, citing the fact that excess deaths occur more regularly among the elderly during periods of extreme heat because they are less able to regulate their body temperature. Have you considered, I don't know, subsidizing air conditioning for them or something like that, right? And instead of tearing the entirety of society apart. No, I guess not, right? Why do that? The group also claimed that heat waves impact the mental well-being of elderly citizens more because they are less able to go outside and withstand the heat, which they argue affects their quality of life. The association relied on Article 2 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which protects the general right to life, and Article 8, which guarantees the right to private and family life. Domestic governments are obliged to take reasonable and appropriate measures. I feel like that's doing a lot of heavy lifting there, that clause. To secure these rights, steps members of the Climate Seniors group claimed the Swiss government had not taken. Litigation had been appealed by the group up to the top human rights court in Europe after his claim was rejected first by the Federal Administrative Court in Switzerland and then by the Federal Supreme Court. So, look, I would be willing to go out on a limb here and say they knew it was going to get rejected. They wanted to get it in front of the EHCR because they knew they'd get like a sympathetic judge or judges. The judgment is the third of 3 similar cases the court was asked to consider in respect to the correlation between climate change and human rights, and sets a precedent that all national courts in Council of European member states will be required to adhere to. And here is the real meat inside of this, right? So now all of the courts, high courts in the UK and every single other European country will have to adopt this precedent, meaning that if they do not net zero hard enough, they can be taken to court by, any sort of like glowy group and be like, oh, you have to govern us harder, daddy. It had recently dismissed 2 other cases brought by Portuguese youths and a former French mayor who claimed their respective national governments had infringed on their human rights by not being ambitious enough with their climate targets. So you see how this works. They're just shotgunning the courts with as many of these cases as they can until they get one through. The move could see governments across Europe required to take even greater measures to press on with reducing carbon emissions and pursuing a green agenda that many citizens believe is wrongly prioritised and expedited to their own detriment. Yeah, so great. This is the EHCR. The case concerned a complaint by 4 women and a Swiss association whose members are concerned about the consequences of global warming on their living conditions and health. They consider that the Swiss authorities are not taking sufficient action to mitigate the effects of climate change. The court found that the convention encompasses a right to effective protection by the state authorities from the serious adverse effects of climate change. So, it is now a human right for the state to protect you from the weather. Oh, I can't see how this could go wrong at all, right? Come on, right? On lives, health, well-being, and quality of life. However, it held that the 4 individual applicants did not fulfill the victim status criteria and declared their complaints inadmissible. That doesn't really matter. They got the important thing. The applicant association, in contrast, had the right to bring a complaint. The court held there had been a violation of the right to respect for private and family life of the convention and a violation of the right to access the court. The court found that the Swiss Confederation had failed to comply with its duty or positive obligations under the convention concerning climate change. Oh, bloody hell. Here's a couple of things. So at least in the UK, this has kicked off a sort of another round of people saying we've got to leave the European Court of Human Rights before they destroy us all. This was originally because of migration. Every single person who they tried to deport after being convicted of a serious crime would basically just appeal until they got to the EHCR. And then the EHCR would be like, it's against their human rights. What about the human rights of their victims? Well, I guess the state doesn't have an overarching need to protect its citizenry, right? Like, what are the lives of the citizens of a country compared to the lives of people from like the other side of the world? Am I right? Yes. So yeah, this is the same kind of like thing. This guy's basically saying, when will the EHCR power grab end? What else have we got here? And there are some Tories urging Rishi Sunak to take Britain out of the European Convention on Human Rights. It's not going to happen. There's an election coming up. Even if he did decide to do it today, by the time they got around to it, the election would happen, and there's no way Labour is going to take us out of it. So enjoy the net zero, bros. Enjoy, right? Like, look, but if you think about it, it's only proper, right? It is highly democratic to make sure that populist right-wing radicals do not get in the way of multilateral institutions and global problems, that they're trying to like use to basically completely bankrupt the West and put us all into digital totalitarianism. The Energy Secretary has led a Tory backlash against the EHCR after it issued a landmark ruling that governments have a duty to protect people from climate change. Claire Coutinho said she was concerned that Strasbourg judges were taking over decisions best made by elected politicians. Oh, you don't say. Well, that's a completely new thing. Never heard of that before. Senior Tories urged Rishi Sunak to take Britain out of the EHCR. Yeah, come on. That's never going to happen. They accuse the court of acting in a profoundly undemocratic way and being bent out of shape by progressive activists and politicians. Well, that is true, but, you know, you can get fucked. The row came as an exclusive opinion poll for The Telegraph revealed that half of Conservative voters believe the UK should leave the ECHR. However, 52% of overall voters think that they should stay. So, you know, it's not going to happen, right? Like, that's how democracy works. If just 51% of people believe that a thing should happen, then it's going to happen. Labour, of course, massively slanted to staying in the ECHR because they love their multilateral institutions, because they weirdly think that, you know, that's the way to, like, world peace and a better world and all this kind of, like, other stuff. Last week, Mr. Sunak raised the possibility of the UK leaving if the Strasbourg court continued to block his delayed plans to deport illegal migrants to Rwanda. That's not going to happen. He had a chance to carve out exceptions, and he didn't do it. So, you know. Mr. J. Chiva Loophole. Good to see you, man. There's panic on the streets of Britain today as a huge fireball was sighted in the sky for a few minutes before the usual rain returned. Yes, I know. I saw it. It was very, very frightening. I was very, very glad when the rain came back. So ECHR, it is now your right to be coercively governed by your government to make sure that the weather is good, bro. So, you know, that's always good. We have Simon JJ in the YouTube chat. Good to see you, sir. Anyone else in the Odysee chat? No. Okay, so that's the end of the stories. Let's get on with the cringe, bros. I know you love the cringe. Let's get this sorted out. Pinhead. I love this. Oh, actually, I'll just check entropy very, very quickly. Or at least I would if I could figure out where the bloody window had gone. Where is it? Right. Let's just refresh entropy. Nothing on entropy. Okay, great. Let's get on with the cringe. Right. See, what have we got? Well, you know, in honor of the sort of the transness that is going on at the moment, here's Julia Hartley-Brewer, basically being sort of like massively corrected by a tranny because she won't mangle the English language. It's really the least that she could do, honestly.
Good afternoon, Julia. Thanks. You know my pronouns are they, them. How are you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for telling me your pronouns. I use correct grammar. So the only thing I would need to refer you to is to your face would be you. But I'm not being rude. You can choose your pronouns. You can choose what you want to call yourself, but you don't get to require me to use incorrect grammar and factually incorrect things. You're not a plural. You're a one person, and you're a female person. So I will use she and her. Thank you very much.
Do what you like, I guess.
Well, there you are. You didn't need to tell me then, did you?
Maybe I'm just making sure people know in case they're watching and they want to refer to me respectfully.
Is it disrespectful for me to use correct factual grammar?
It's not incorrect.
Imagine being that smug, chat, right? Like, do you ever look at someone and you're like, man, what must it be like to be that smug? I don't. Let's see. I don't even think I can hold that face. Imagine, I'm very, very smug. Actually, you disrespected my pronouns. Do you even know the harm that you're causing by not mutilating the English language? Okay. The smug face, bros.
Correct or unfactual grammar to use singular they them pronouns for an individual. But we're here to talk about the CAS review.
Yeah, but you chose to bring it up.
You chose to use the incorrect pronouns for me.
I chose to use the correct pronouns for a single woman who is appearing on my show.
I'm not a single woman, though. I'm a very special non-binary trans person, as you just pointed out.
Oh, she's very special. Oh, mate. Imagine feeling that special. Oh, my God. Oh, creepy, mate. Creepy.
Didn't just point that out. I didn't just point that out. I introduced you as a journalist and a Virgin Radio presenter.
No, just before I came on, you were talking about how people with all these labels like to be special. And I'm just making sure that everyone knows I'm special.
Okay, I'm not special. I'm just a boring old heterosexual married woman. But, you know, sorry about that. We're not allowed to do that anymore. In fact, that probably does make me special now. I don't know.
Ah, yes, very, very special. This is really cringe. This is I don't know. the TikTokers are very worried that TikTok might get banned, and they're out in force. The fetus army is fighting back, bros.
Oh, U.S. government of America, you've made a big mistake. You think you can take away our app? Well, we are the most powerful generation that there ever was. We are Generation Z. We won't let TikTok fall. We will rise above it all. We will save TikTok. Time's running out. Can you hear the clock? Joe Biden, we are ready for war. You want us so bad, and now you want more. Who's with me? Charlie D'Amelio, Noah Beck, Jojo Siwa, Brittany Borowski. Welcome to the end time.
Crispy13, good to see you, man. Call in a drone strike on the coordinates extracted from the metadata of this video immediately. We were all cringe as kids, but mate, that is some top tier cringe. We've got more climate change cringe for you, bros. Enjoy.
Hello.
Delivery for you.
I wasn't expecting anything. What's this?
It's a climate crisis.
A climate crisis? I didn't order one of those. It must be for someone else. Check the neighbours.
No, this is definitely for you. I have one for all the neighbours as well, unfortunately.
Look, I don't have time for this. I have to drive to the airport to go to Lanzarote.
Well, I'm afraid it'll still be here waiting for you when you come back. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty or anything. You're just doing what everyone else does, but it won't make the delivery go away.
Whatever. Give it here, so I'll keep it for the kids.
Oh my god, that's like someone's actual election commercial. Cringe. Climate change delivery for you. Did you know that eclipses and earthquakes are linked to climate change, according to crazy TV ladies who, I don't know, box wine, too much box wine?
Those things together would maybe lead one to believe that, either climate change exists,
that's more
or
the
something
point.
is really
Except
going
Earth is
on.
returning. Earthquakes are not at the mercy of climate change. It's underground. It can't. I don't think that
it happens, and the eclipse. They've known about the eclipse coming because eclipses happen, and they actually can say when these things are going to happen.
Those things together would maybe lead one to believe that, either climate change exists,
that's more
or
the
something
point.
is really
Except
going
Earth is
on.
returning. Earthquakes are not at the mercy of climate change. It's underground. It can't. I don't think that.
It happens, and the eclipse. They've known about the eclipse coming because eclipses happen, and they actually can say when these things are going to happen.
Those things together.
Oh man, yes, you can predict an eclipse. I have been reliably told. This is Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee saying how the moon is made out. Enjoy, bros.
Provide unique light and energy so that you have the energy of the moon at night, and sometimes you've heard the word full moon, and sometimes you need to take the opportunity just to come out and see a full moon is that complete rounded circle, which is made up mostly of gases. And that's why the question is why or how could we as humans live on the moon? Are the gases such that we could do that? The sun is a mighty powerful heat that is almost impossible.
That sun is a mighty powerful heat. Even more heat than Granddaddy's Texas rib rub.
To go near the sun. The moon is more manageable, and you will see in a moment, or not a moment, you'll see in a couple of years that NASA is going back to the moon. Provide.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is our seasoning American clip of the evening. If you're ever annoyed at the police, just be grateful that you don't have to deal with this kind of shit on a daily basis.
Go ahead. Dead ass. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hey, go ahead. Hey, shut the fuck up, white boy. 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 Shut the fuck up, nigga. Yo, listen, I'm trying to be respectful. Y'all wanna arrest me? Fuck y'all, bitch ass niggas. Burglary. I ain't do burglary nowhere. I ain't no burglary, bro. I ain't got no burglary. So you gonna hit me with a burglary? If you wish to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop. No, fuck all to answer my question, bitch. You also have the right to stop answering questions until you've spoken to a lawyer. Stop. Bro, get the fuck off me, pussy. The fuck up, man, bro. Get the fuck off me, bitch. The fuck off me, bro. Kill me, bitch. Kill me, bitch. Kill me, bitch. Get off my arm. You're about to break me, bitch. Did he finish? Yeah. Kevin, do you understand your rights? Yeah, he does. Bitch. Okay.
Bruh, man, that's got to be a bad day. You'd want a beer after that. Right, we got some funny videos for you now. Enjoy.
What'd you say his name was again?
Sorry, I should go.
Okay, where's he taking my lady? Tell him to treat my lady right.
Hey.
Hey.
You right?
Modern women. You ever been in an open relationship?
Can't say I have.
They're very healthy. I mean, I could see whoever I want as well.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I choose not to. This is just the first date. You'll probably just have a couple drinks with him and make plans to see him another time.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, babe? Oh, hey, what's up, fella? Feller. Oh, this is the thing.
Yeah.
You play, you hoop? You're tall guy. But she, I guess, didn't tell me that she was going to be bringing him back. Hey, I just want to make sure everything's okay. You know, you weren't gone for very long. It's a photo from our anniversary. I took her to the Riverwalk in San Antonio.
Beautiful. You want to watch something?
Oh, hey, thought I smelled smoke.
It was really fun. Do you want to talk about it?
Talk about what?
I'll go to my room.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't know whether I think it's a joke, yeah, but sad. Right now, time to check in with the UK's latest protest group, Fetus Demand. Yes, the fetuses are out there. They're angry. What is their platform? Well, it's just stop oil, but plus Palestine, because, you know, that's very, very trendy at the moment. In a completely organic and uncoordinated way that is definitely not connected to multinational NGOs and sources of funding seeking to basically undermine the UK in any way, shape, or form. Only a conspiracy theorist would believe that. Fetus Demand have taken action to paint the Ministry of Defense, because that's really gonna, you know, change stuff. Enjoy. Ah, so stunning. So brave. Livia Drusilla, they should be made to personally clean up their defacement. Yeah, they really, really should be. That would be awesome. I'm usually against like chain gangs, but I would probably make an exception just for these like people. But if they did, right, they'd probably just all lie down and just be like, we're not gonna like work for fascists, you know. This is them being arrested, or you know, or squealing or something.
Everyone in this building is complicit in genocide. We demand that the British government imposes a two-way arms embargo on Israel. We need to stop arming and we need to stop buying weapons off Israel. We're buying surveillance technology. We are selling them the weapons that are being used to kill children. Children. This is not a matter of complex politics. This is the life of kids. And, like, the people in this building, they're allowing this to continue. Our government, by refusing to call for a ceasefire earlier, Labour, by refusing to call for a ceasefire earlier, all of it, by David Cameron refusing to impose an arms embargo, that is genocide. That is genocide. That is the definition of genocide. We said never again. And we mean never again, and never again is now. If you wanted to know, as Martin Luther King said, the only thing that needs for injustice to continue is good people to not act. If you are a good person, and you would like to think that you stand up against injustice, and you like to think that you are doing the right thing, then this is the time. We all have a duty, particularly living in England in the global north, where the seat of our government is. We have the opportunity to really make a change. We have the opportunity to tell our government.
Yeah, you know, Crisps raises a really interesting point there. The cops don't usually let people they're arresting do speeches. Yeah, it does seem a little bit staged. It actually makes me wonder. I wonder if the Israelis are, you know, kicking a bit of funding to these people so that everyone will start hating the pro-Palestinian people.
That we will not allow our taxes to go to blowing up kids. That's what they're doing. When we pay our taxes and they go to the government, it is being used to blow up children.
They're being used to blow up children. Oh, yes. Brown children. I mean, we don't care about the white children that are being, like, screwed over in the UK. Those children are absolutely fine. We don't talk about immigration. We are progressive. Oh, my God. I'm so tired of these fucking people. I think I got one more. Oh, yes. Here we go. Here's here's a sort of middle class, upper middle class, you know, child screaming.
We'll never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. We'll never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
See, she's got a touch of the smug as well. The oh, mate, what we need is a war on smug, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling it. Oh, right, we got a bit of music for you now. This has got a bit of a story behind it. Texas Man, I think you'll like this. In the 1960s, Marty Robbins wrote and sang an anti-communist song that criticized the counterculture of the 1960s and the American left. Ain't I Right accuses counterculture activists and anti-Vietnam War protesters of being communists and socialists intent on undermining and disrupting American life and values, and argues that their intent is not to help the people, but rather to maximize suffering and misery around them. This record was banned by Columbia Records and never saw the light of day until the Bear family included it in their great Marty Robbins box set. According to Columbia Records, the song was too provocative. And I'm going to play it for you all. Enjoy!
You came down to this southern town last summer to show the folks a brand new way of life. But all you've shown the folks around here is trouble, and you've only added misery to their strife. Your concern is not to help the people, and I'll say again, though it's been often said, your concern is just to bring discomfort, my friend, and your policy is just a little red. Now ain't I right? Ain't you right? It matters not to you how people suffer, and should they, you consider that a gain. You bring a lot of trouble to a town and then you leave. That's part of your communistic game. I detect a little communism. I can see it in the things you do. Communism, socialism, call it what you like. There's very little difference in the two. Now ain't I right? Ain't I right? Ain't I right? Your followers sometimes have been a bearded, bathless bunch. There's even been a minister or two, a priest, a nun, a rabbi, and an educated man have listened and been taken in by you. All the country's full of two-faced politicians who encourage you with words that go like this. Burn your draft card if you like, it's good to disagree. That's a get acquainted communistic kiss. Now ain't I right? Ain't I right? One politician said it would be nice to send some blood and help the enemy in Vietnam. That's what he says, here's what I say, let's just keep the blood. Instead, let's send that politician man. Let's rid the country of the politicians who coddle tramps that march out in our street, protesting those who want to fight for freedom, my friend. This kind of leader makes our country weak. Now ain't I right? Ain't I right? Ain't I right? Let's look and find the strong and able leaders. It's time we found just how our neighbors stand. If we're to win this war with communism, let's fight it here as well as Vietnam. Let's rise as one and meet our obligations, so communistic boots will never trod across the fields of freedom that were given to us with the blessing of our great almighty God. Across the fields of freedom that were given to us with the blessing of our great almighty God.
God bless the old style USA. Man, that's pretty awesome. I really like that. Yeah, Texas Man, I'll send it to you over Telegram. Right. Oh, and speaking of Texas Man, I rated his excellent Telegram group, USDA Prime Memes. Only the primest grass-fed, grass-finished memes for your enjoyment. One of the best meme channels on Telegram. It actually legitimately is. There's always like really, really good stuff on there. And so I rated it for like a few funny videos. Enjoy. That wacky wavy inflatable tube man be spicy. What's this? Oh yeah, this is funny too. Enjoy.
Are you a posho? Realise that it's not that cool and that some people might even dislike you for it? Well, nutanki etpa. You can join literally thousands of Trustafarians everywhere and just pretend to be poor using the WOI acronym.
Wealth. Even though you've benefited from it for your entire life, try if you can to loudly decry capitalism. Why not give it a go now?
£5.20 for a coffee. Fuck capitalism.
Great.
Lads, we need a fucking revolution. Skiing's almost unaffordable right now.
Not quite, but keep trying. Oration. If you want to hide your private education, be vigilant. Just one slip of the tongue could give you away to pitchfork-wielding posho haters. Mate, classic, chat, banter, these have all got to take a gap year. You can use them again in 2 to 3 years' time when you live in Surrey. Try instead to use words like bruv, safe, and calm. You don't need to know what they mean, just use them whenever you can.
Sounds peng.
Peng indeed. Take off that signet ring, throw away that Leavers hoodie, and definitely get rid of those red trousers. You only wear vintage clothes now.
Does this mean I have to go to charity shops?
Christ no. Vintage shops take those clothes from charity shops and then sell them on to you.
Oh great, that means they'll still be cheap, right?
You'd certainly think so, wouldn't you? So follow these steps and you'll be looking poor and posh no more.
Mate, thank you so much. You're a top bloke.
Don't forget your training.
Sorry, bruv. Sick G, innit? Come on.
No cap, for real, bruv. Right. I don't know where this is from, but this is like funny.
I'm not a man. Oh, darn thing's always falling off. Time to go home, Cindy.
Okay, Bob. Come on, Baxter.
Clown World, ladies and gentlemen. Clown World. Oh, and this is great as well. Enjoy.
Take your fingers in like this, and then place your thumb on top like so. That will increase the pleasure.
We call that the El Taco Supremo method. Oh, this is really stupid as well. Enjoy.
Question, did that happen, begs the question, what do you mean by happen? Because when you are dealing with fundamental realities and you pose a question, you have to understand that the reality of the concepts of your question, when you're digging that deep, are just as questionable about as what you're questioning.
Oh yeah, and this is an old Chris Rock skit. Enjoy.
Have you ever been face to face with a police officer and wondered, is he about to kick my ass? Well, wonder no more. If you follow these easy tips, you'll be fine. First, obey the law. Laws were made for a reason. Think of them as hints. You've heard people say, man, I wouldn't do that shit if I was you. Well, here's some of that shit. Carjacking, armed robbery, arson, selling drugs, buying drugs, stabbing, shooting. You know, you probably won't get your ass kicked if you just use common sense. If you jump a subway turnstile, you might just get off with a warning from the police. But if you jump a turnstile carrying a loaded gun and smoking a joint, then maybe you need your ass kicked. We all know what happened to Rodney King, but Rodney wouldn't have got his ass kicked if he had just followed this simple tip. When you see flashing police lights in your mirror, stop immediately. Everybody knows, if the police have to come and get you, they're bringing an ass kicking with them. Here's a no-brainer. If you're listening to loud rap music, turn that shit off. Blasting "fuck the police" while you're getting pulled over by the police is just ignorant. When an officer approaches your car, be polite.
Is there a problem, officer?
And stay in your car with your hands on the wheel.
What the fuck do you want, motherfucker?
Unless you want your ass kicked. Want to give a friend a ride? Not so fast. Your friend might be crazy. Now, before you let your friend in your car, ask them these questions. Do you have a gun? Do you have drugs? Do you have any warrants? And in case you do get pulled over by the cops,
License and registration, please.
remind your friend to do this one thing. Shut the fuck up.
Man, don't give him shit. What the fuck you want?
If you have to give a friend a ride, get a white friend. A white friend can be the difference between a ticket and a bullet in the ass. Here's a tip you should never forget. If your woman is mad at you, leave her at home. Because a mad woman will say anything.
He got weed! He got weed!
If your woman is mad at you, there's nothing she'd like to see more than you getting your ass kicked.
That's right! Kick his motherfucking ass! Never tell me shut up no more! Take his weed too! He got weed! He got weed!
Now let's review. Obey the law. Use common sense. Stop immediately. Turn that shit off. Be polite. Shut the fuck up. Get a white friend. And last but not least, don't ride with a mad woman. If you follow these simple pointers, you probably won't get your ass kicked by the...
Oh man, I miss old comedy. Right, so Cute Animals up next. Let me just check entropy. Oh, we have one from Jeffrey Mill. Wait, where's the confetti? Thanks for the stream, Mr. Fist. Bungled the message a bit last week, but I guess you got the gist of it. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much. $7 from Jeffrey Mill. I really appreciate that, man. It means so much. It goes towards keeping me alive and keeping this show on the air. Right, now let's get back to the cute animal videos. Oh, come on, where's the... right, okay. Now, I bet you didn't know that birds could do this. Enjoy. That's how we're going to beat the competency crisis, bros. We're going to train birds to be mechanics. Look, it's a great idea. Right. Oh, this is just funny. No! The poor doggo is not a bottle opener. Oh, this is like funny. When your cat brings the bass, bros. Crispy 13, per and base. Indeed. Indeed. And thank you to Sade Sapiente, our official cute animal correspondent for these excellent cute animal videos. We got some cats being startled here. I do enjoy these.
拿不出来了。It's just a slip.
You jumped over these double bacon.
Aww. Right, oh yeah, this is stupid. Enjoy. That cat is clearly not a reader. Yes, they do look like crap books. Maybe the cat is suggesting that you should read something a bit more intelligent. This is weird. This is a bunch of fluffy king penguin chicks chasing a feral cat in the Falkland Islands. Cat's just like, oh, leave me alone. Oh, what the hell, man? They're like, we will waddle after you quite slowly, cheeping as we go. This is funny.
Oh my god. 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 Oh my god.
It's the Archer samples that really make it there. This is cute. Bouncy dog. Aw. And, this is great. I love happy dogs. Man, I wish I could find that much joy in a puddle. Amazing. Oh, and this is like so heckin' cute. This is the last one for the night. Finishing off with something incredibly cuteness.
Cotton's turn. Oh, Gizzy.
Aww. Such cute baby goats. And that is the end of the show. Thank you so much for coming. No Empire of Lies tonight because Yiz is away with her meat and guns. I hope she's having a great time. Let's have a quick goodbye to the chat. Livia Drusilla, Patriots Flow, Fox39 Forever, Crisby13, Old Saucy, J Chiva, Loophole, Fox39 Forever, Patriots Flow, Sadie Sapiente, who else is in here? I know Flip City was in here as well. Let's see. Is that everybody? I think that's everybody in the Rumble chat. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Oh, and of course, Texas Man. And Olivia Drusilla, in case I didn't mention her before. Captain Crisps, in case I didn't mention as well. I think my brain is starting to leak out of my ears, bros. And let's see. In the Odysee chat, Jeffrey Mill, Smack Your Apocalypse, Taciturn. Thanks for coming along, guys. Really appreciate it. And Rights for Whites. I think that's everyone. And in YouTube chat, Timmy Robinson, Simon JJ, Eddie Wolf. Oh, new person in the chat. Good to see you, sir. I know Victorian Time Traveler was in here as well. Thank you very, very much for coming, all of you. I will be back on Monday with the Habbening, and I believe Yiz will be back, so we'll probably have Discord and Dragons then. I hope you have an excellent time, and have a lovely weekend, everyone. I will see you all later. Good night, bros.